What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be doing an oil change on my 2019 Ram 1500 Bighorn. What's going on, guys? Back again with another Ram video for you guys. Today we're going to be changing the oil in my 2019 Ram 1500. It has the 5.7 liter Hemi, and as you guys can see, I did throw my 22-inch rims back on there, my 22x12 TIS wheels, and I just love the way this truck looks. Much better than with the stock wheels on it. What do you guys think? Comment down below, let me know your thoughts on the wheel setup. But so yeah, that's the current wheel and tire setup I have on the truck. This is my summer setup. I have Nitto 420s on here, 305 45 22s, and don't mind the dirty wheels and the dirty truck. I have been daily driving this in the rain and the truck is filthy, but today we're gonna do an oil change on the truck. This will be the truck's first oil change, and I got about 7,000 miles on it now, and the oil light just came on, you know, change engine oil. So I got 7,000 miles out of it before the light came on. I know a lot of people recommend doing a 5,000 mile oil change, but it goes off runtime and miles and everything else, and so far so good with the Ram. I really like it, and it's been a great truck so far. So without further ado, let's get the Ram pulled in the garage, pulled up on the ramps, and I'm going to show you guys how to do an oil change on a 2019 Ram 1500. Let's get it. So we'll go ahead and start the truck up now, and I'll show you guys the message I got. Change oil soon. And if we go through the menu, okay, so my service tire pressure system light is on as well, because I haven't got these tire pressure sensor monitors calibrated to the new truck. So I have to go to my local tire shop and have them calibrate the sensors in the wheel so that my light doesn't, you know, stay on. So as you can see over here, it's blinking. So I gotta go get that done, but for now we're gonna ignore that and go down to vehicle info. And so as you guys can see here, I have 7,300 miles on the truck. I have a total of 122 idle hours, 210 drive hours, with a total of 340 hours on this truck. So as you guys can see here, I have 3% oil life remaining. So today we're going to go ahead and change the oil on this 2019 Ram 1500 with the 5.7 liter Hemi. So stay tuned. So before you get started on the oil change, I recommend letting the truck warm up about 2 to 3 minutes before draining any oil. So now that we have the truck pulled up on the race ramps and now that it's warmed up, we're ready to change the oil. We're going to go ahead and pop the hood now so that we can access the oil fill cap, and we're going to go ahead and take that off. So pop the hood. And we're going to go ahead and take this cap off right there, so that way it relieves all the pressure so that it's easier to drain your oil and all your oil will come out. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take the oil fill cap off now. That way it relieves all the pressure from the motor and it makes it easier to drain. It'll come out faster for you. So go ahead and leave that off, and as you guys can see here, it recommends 5W20. Alright guys, so before you get started on the oil change, you want to make sure you have the necessary tools to get the job done. So today, first off, you want to make sure you have some rubber gloves, and you want to make sure you have an oil drain pan, and then the oil drain bolt on the truck is a 1/2 inch, so I use a 1/2 inch wrench on that. You could use a socket as well, but the socket is going to be hard to get behind the sway bar, and I'll show you once we get under there. But you need 7 quarts of oil, 5W20. Today I'm using conventional oil. You don't need to put synthetic or even a semi-synthetic or a full synthetic in the Ram, because the Ram did not come with a full synthetic oil. It just came with conventional oil from the factory. So today we're just using a generic conventional 5W20 oil, and like I said, you need 7 quarts for that. And then you also need an oil filter, which what I'm using today is a Mopar OEM filter, and there's the part number for you guys, MO-339. So that's the filter we're going to be using today. I typically like to use OEM filters because I know they seat right and I won't have any issues with any leaks or anything. So that's what we're using today. Also, to make things a little bit easier, if you have a creeper, you might want to use that instead of crawling under there on your back. Oh, and one more thing that's not in the picture here is some shop rags. Make sure you have some shop rags, because oil changes can be very messy if your oil does not drain into the pan all the way, or gets on your sway bar, or just makes a mess. So you want to make sure you have some shop rags readily available to clean up your mess. I will also put in the description down below what weight oil you need to use for this, and also what oil I chose to use and what filter I used with the right part numbers and all that for you guys. So I'll put that in the description below. So with all that being said, we are now ready to crawl under the truck and loosen up that oil drain plug with a 1/2-inch wrench. So let's do that now. So before you take your oil filter off, you need an oil filter wrench, and you're gonna go ahead and go up here, and I suggest using the Ziploc bag method. That way you put that, once you break it loose, put the Ziploc bag up around the filter, and that way when you spin it off, most of the oil goes in the bag and doesn't make such a mess all over the bottom of the truck here. So we're gonna go ahead and spin that off now.
Power steering box? Electric steering box.
So as you guys can see here, we took the oil filter off with a Ziploc bag. That way it prevents from a lot of mess, oil dripping down all over your arms and all over the cases. As you guys can see up here on the electronic steering box, it left very little oil to wipe up. If we didn't use the Ziploc bag technique, that would have been covered in oil, because the oil filter is right above that. I know it's hard to see in the camera, but the oil filter is directly above that electronic steering box. So we went ahead and did the Ziploc bag trick, and it worked for the most part. We just had a little bit of cleanup afterwards. So before installing your new oil filter in the truck, you want to go ahead and take one of your quarts of your 5W20 new oil and go ahead and pour a little bit in there, just like that. And then you want to take a little bit of new oil with your finger, put some on your finger, and wipe around the seal on the filter. So take a little bit of the oil and just put it around the seal here. So once you get your filter up in there, make sure you just hand tighten it. Don't use the filter wrench to tighten it. Just make sure it's snug. I suggest using rubber gloves, that way you get a good grip on it. So we got that all put back and tightened up. Also, make sure that your oil drain plug is tight, and make sure that there's no oil seeping out from underneath it or around it. And also wipe down everywhere you dripped some oil. That way it doesn't drip in your driveway or in your garage on the floor. So once you're done wiping everything up and making sure your oil drain plug and oil filter is tightened and seated, you are now ready to fill the engine with oil. Alright, so now we're ready to put the new oil in the truck. I recommend using the 1 gallon, which is 5 quarts first, and then using and then pouring in another quart, so you have a total of 6 in there. And then check the dipstick and see, you should need to add 1 more quart because the truck calls for 7 quarts. So this here is 5 quarts. and then this would be 6, and then 7. So we're gonna go ahead and fill that up now. Also, before you check your dipstick, make sure you back the truck off the ramp so that the truck's on a flat surface so that you get a correct oil reading on your dipstick. So after you get 6 quarts in, you want to go ahead and start the truck up, pull it down off the ramps, and then check your oil dipstick. And after that, you should see that you need to add 1 more quart. So we're going to go ahead and do that now, and then check it once it's on level ground. Alright, so now that the truck's on level ground off the ramps, we're going to go ahead and check the dipstick and see how much oil is in there. We might need to add another quart. I'm thinking we are going to have to add another quart because we've only have 6 quarts in the motor right now, and it calls for 7 quarts. So let's go ahead and pull that oil dipstick and see what we got. So I don't know if you guys can tell on the camera. I don't think you can because it's so dark under here. But basically, here is your zone you want to be in between here and here. And the oil level is right here. You might be able to see it. But so that's where our oil level is, and we need to be right here in between these 2 dots here in the safe zone. So we got to add another quart. So now that you have 7 quarts of oil in there and you've got your oil fill cap back on and your dipstick back in, you are all set, and that completes the oil change. So we're going to go ahead and start the truck up now, and we're going to go through the settings here and reset the oil life. Alright, first things first, you want to make sure that you have oil pressure. So as you guys can see here, the truck is running and we have 55 pounds of oil pressure, so we're good there. Coolant, trans, and oil temps all good. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and reset the oil life and return it back to 100% since we just did the oil change. So we're going to go ahead and hold OK. To reset oil life, engine must be off with ignition and run. So let's go ahead and shut the truck off. Turn it to the run position. And we're going to go over to oil life. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and hold OK to reset. I don't know if you guys can see that. There we go. So we're going to go hold OK to reset. Boom, back to 100%, and we are done. So that's going to complete today's video on how to do an oil change on a new 2019 Ram 1500 with the 5.7 liter Hemi. Make sure you guys are following me on Instagram at DoWorkMotorsports, all one word. I'll put it up on the screen here. I do tend to post more on there than I do on YouTube, but if you want to stay up to date with my different activities, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at DoWorkMotorsports, all one word. Also, make sure you guys browse the channel and subscribe. I greatly appreciate all your support. Leave your comments in the comment section below if you have any questions or concerns on this. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video. Peace!